Glory, as of now, is the current hottest game with a system of 1 account per game card. It has its own login device, which has become a common part of gaming computers. Furthermore, the professional esports tournaments have become more splendid. Amid the popular accounts, there's this one Autumn Leaf. This account has been regarded as the battle god. The player's name is EQ, and he is known to be the textbook expert in Glory. Just imagine what kind of a legendary player he is. At the base of the Excellent Era team, all of a sudden, EQ was asked to hand over the account card of one Autumn Leaf. The team manager, Qi informs him that the team has decided that his role as team captain will be hereby taken over by their new recruit, Sun Xiang. Sun Xiang was the Rookie of the Year in the Professional Alliance, and he was an ex-member of the Conquering Clouds team. Sun Xiang didn't even glance at EQ and bluntly apologized as he took over his position. This scamp was not even respecting his senior, even as a formality. Meanwhile, someone is ready to fight for EQ's rights, as he was the one who solely leveled up the account one Autumn Leaf. This attractive-looking girl is Suma Cheng, a fellow team member of Excellent Era. Huey clarifies that the account belongs to the team, and he instead blames EQ, saying that it's because of him that the Team Excellent Era has continuously been at the bottom of the table for the past 2 years. This was not fair, but surprisingly, the other members agreed with the manager. They wanted a new captain to lead their team and unlock its true potential. Suma Cheng was about to start an argument, but EQ stops her. Huey asks EQ to hand over the account card to Sun Xiang for the last time. EQ removed the card and handed it over to him. Sun Xiang's eyes gleamed with happiness. He so wanted to have this card that he even agreed to transfer to this half-dead team. Sun Xiang was certain that he could replace the renowned legend EQ with this card. One Autumn Leaf was his now, but EQ resisted and didn't let go of the card. His hands trembled, which displayed his weakness. EQ was a professional player, and his hands were his major assets. This guy wasn't physically weak, he was just reluctant to give away what he had worked so hard for. EQ asks Sun Xiang out of the blue whether he likes the game. Then came words from a true senior. EQ told Sun Xiang that if he liked the game, he should treat everything as glory and not as boasting. He then hands over the card and tells him to take care of it, and EQ walks away. Huey informs EQ that the team doesn't have any suitable accounts for him, so he can just stay here as a training partner. The manager and the team members mock him, and then EQ declares that he'll cancel the contract. Huey was just waiting to hear these words, though. He also knew that EQ wouldn't be able to pay the penalty fee because he refused to make money despite having a good marketing value. So he puts up the condition that EQ should announce his retirement. Suma Cheng protests against this unfair policy as she knows that a player who announces their retirement can only return to this profession after a year. EQ, on the other hand, takes the contract and wishes to rest for a year after working so hard. While signing the contract, he notices that this retirement contract was prepared long ago. EQ leaves, and Suma Cheng quietly follows him. EQ tells her that it's too cold and there's no need to see him off. He assures her that he'll rest for a year and then come back. This was indeed a cold night for both EQ, who had nowhere to go now, and Suma Cheng, who felt helpless. In an instant, EQ's whole world was upside down, and he found it really difficult to adapt to this change. In addition, it was really cold out today, and his life was even colder. He needed to find a place to avoid the cold, and that's when he finds the Joyful Flourish internet cafe right in front of him. EQ gets himself a seat by registering using his ID card. Meanwhile, he notices that this internet cafe is pretty huge and that it is quite modern as well as decently equipped. EQ was so lost that he even forgot his ID card. He gets a seat in Area C, seat 47. When EQ finally finds his way to Area C, his seat is already occupied by a woman who is playing Glory. This beautiful yet dangerous-looking woman is Chen Guo, the cafe owner. Chen Guo had a launcher in her hand, and she was fierce. EQ was reminded of Suma Cheng, who was always calm and composed, even after killing the opponent so brutally. On the other hand, this woman who was in front of him almost smacked the shit out of the keyboard. Anyway, both sides were equally scary. This woman, Chen Guo, was going crazy, and she kept hitting the keyboard pathetically and repeatedly wishing for her opponent to go die. After all this, she couldn't win. Chen Guo found EQ staring at her, and she knew he needed the computer, so she left. Chen Guo had lost 52 matches in a row despite playing for Glory for 5 years. Even her account was better than her rivals, and she wondered if he was an expert. Chen Guo stood there in a corner, almost depressed. The following moment, a customer informed her that someone was using her account. Shit, Chen Guo had forgotten to exit the game, and now her money and equipment were in danger of being looted. She declared in her mind that if this son of a bitch loses, he's going to pay for it. But the moment she glances at the computer screen, her eyes shine as she sees that it's a victory. Even though Chen Guo was a veteran player and she had over 5 years of experience, she awfully lost 52 damn matches in a row. But this guy just played casually and he won. EQ explains how she forgot to log out of the game, and when he sat down, the battle had already begun. Of course, there was nothing to worry about now that he had helped her win. Chen Guo just asked him how long it took him to win. When he told her that it took him only a little over 40 seconds to win, this woman was shocked to her core. EQ adds up, saying that his hands were freezing, otherwise 30 seconds would have been enough. Chen Guo was totally freaked out by his amazing performance, and she wondered if he was a professional player. The best part was that the professional team closest to the internet cafe was Excellent Era, but she could recognize all the members of Excellent Era unless he was the expert, who never shows his face. So this man could possibly be EQ. Holy crap, Chen Guo was going insane, and this woman hopelessly declared a stranger as an idol she worships. Chen Guo wanted to ask him right away, but she stopped because for someone as inconspicuous as EQ, if she asked him directly like this, he probably wouldn't admit it. She swiftly runs towards the receptionist and asks her to look for the registered name of the guest in Area C, Seat 47. This woman is getting creepier. The receptionist then informs her boss that his name is Yizu. Chen Guo's brains were quick enough to make this silly connection with the names EQ and Yizu. Damn, she knew it. The following moment, Chen Guo was ready with her pen and diary to ask EQ for an autograph. The receptionist also informs her boss that this guy has left his ID card here. Chen Guo rushed to take a look at it, and now her dreams were going to shatter. Of course, he had registered with his real name, Yizu, so only their names were similar. Chen Guo was heartbroken. She manages to deliver his ID card back to him. Yizu asks Chen Guo if she's working here, and she tells him that she's the boss here. This woman was no longer interested in talking to him. He tells her that he just saw the notice about hiring, and he thinks that he fits the qualifications. Yizu politely asks Chen Guo to give it some thought. Oh, so he wanted to apply. This was a good opportunity for Chen Guo, as she wanted to compare notes with him, play, and improve her gaming skills. Now she had a perfect reason for keeping him by her side. Chen Guo tells Yizu that if he wants to work for her, just fulfilling the qualification part is not enough. He also needs to beat her in a duel in glory. Yizu checks the notice, but he doesn't find any condition like this. How on earth could he even find it when Chen Guo just added this condition? Yizu knew that he played that last match too professionally and doubted that this woman must be interested in his abilities. He then tells her that he can't beat her because he doesn't have an account. Yizu had no account, no levels, and no equipment. Chen Guo failed to comprehend this situation, and he elucidates that he had an account before, but he gave it away. Based on his skills, Chen Guo concluded that his account must have been worth a lot of money, and he was pretty generous to give it away just like this. Damn, EQ was actually too generous. Chen Guo informs him about the new server. At midnight, it would be Glory's 10th year anniversary. Her words caught his attention, and now he awaits Glory's 10th server, which is launching tonight. Glory has this old tradition of opening up a new district on every anniversary. Tonight is the grand opening of the 10th district. Yizu seems quite interested and asks if it is possible to apply for a transfer. Chen Guo informs him that it is possible, but he will need a level 1 free number account for the transfer. Yizu is determined to give it a try no matter what, and he slides an account card into the device. He had an extra card, and Chen Guo takes a close look at the pattern on it. This card pattern was on sale 10 years ago, and Chen Guo couldn't believe her eyes. Yizu tells her that this is the first version of the card. Chen Guo thought that this was incredible. It also meant that he is a 10-year-old veteran player. She gazed at him and wondered that he is a 10-year-old player with such superb skills who gave away his old account and now he's again starting from scratch. This kind of spirit clearly shows that he must love Glory a lot. Yizu transfers his account and gives it a new name, Lord Grimm. Chen Guo takes a note of his new account, and now she knows that this is the account he'll be using to play in the 10th district. Yizu squeezes the card in his hand, closes his eyes, and relaxes on the chair. Memories flow into his mind, and he lingers on a picture of 3 young folks. This 10-year-old account definitely contains some of his major life secrets. Meanwhile, Chen Guo taps him on the shoulder and asks him if he wants to be the web administrator. Yizu was fine with the role, but he asked for a night shift. She stretches herself as if she threw off her responsibilities away, and tells him to follow her to do some work. Chen Guo's inner entrepreneur was dancing, as she was soon going to be making huge profits. She successfully got herself a full-time night owl who has 10 years of experience and seems to be very skilled. Chen Guo opens the door leading to the second floor. She tells Yizu, who has already started helping her with the work, that she lives on the second floor with the other staff, and from now on he'll be living here too. Yizu glances at the room, which looks quite pleasing to the eye. He would get food, and even the accommodation was not bad. The moment he left Excellent Era, Yizu didn't know where to go, but unexpectedly, he found a foothold here. Chen Guo then points out to a small room in the corner, indicating his room. Ugh, it was pretty dusty, but there was no other option as of now. Chen Guo felt awkward to offer him such a shabby-looking place, and she explains to him that originally they weren't short of people, and the recruitment notice that he had seen was an old one. Yizu was totally fine with it as long as he had a place to live. Chen Guo looks at her watch and declares that the time has finally come. She tells Yizu to hurry up as there are still 7 minutes before the 10th District of Glory opens. Yizu asks Chen Guo whether she is going to the 10th District as well. Of course she was going. She wanted to see more of his strength and techniques. The internet cafe is crowded and filled with excitement. Everyone here was eagerly waiting for the Glory 10th District to open soon. Chen Guo rushes to tell Yizu to hurry up and makes him sit down. She couldn't understand why he was still dilly-dallying. Next, the countdown to the opening of the 10th district begins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. The district had now been officially released. Chen Guo finds it extremely weird when she sees Yizu reading the newbie guide. Even after having the first version of the card, he hasn't touched the newbie guide for so many years that he can't remember it. Chen Guo refuses to believe it, as he dares say that he has never read the newbie guide or never helped a new player level up. That's too ethical, and even a waste of his good skills. Yizu tells her that usually he doesn't have time to read it, but she gets a chance to question him about his work. He states that his daily job is to play games. Hang on, it just clicked for Chen Guo that he's actually a professional player. She stares at the guy next to her for a while, as if she could read his mind. Chen Guo then asks him if he retired. Yizu is actually surprised by this woman's guessing ability. He asks her about how she knew that he had just retired. That was not even a question. Nonsense, she exclaimed, as she knew that he had already hit that age of retirement. But she feels it was a shame, as he's just an amateur. Chen Guo's statement about Yizu being an amateur stabbed him straight in the heart. Chen Guo knew every professional player out there, but she had never heard of the name Yizu. She tells him that he doesn't have to lie to her, and she can guess that he's not actually retired but that he got kicked out of his company. Chen Guo confirms that the reason behind it was so he could compete for the spot. Now this hit Yizu even harder, and he wondered if she could see right through him at times. Yizu remembers about what happened hours ago and how Sun Xiang had replaced him as the captain. Yizu looked sad and depressed after thinking about all this. Shit. Chen Guo covers her mouth and wonders if she said something wrong. She then sincerely apologizes to him and asks him to forgive her. As for Yizu, he didn't care much about it. Chen Guo encourages him, saying that 25 isn't too old, and if he practices well, then he'll be able to go back winning. Yes, that's exactly what Yizu is doing. Chen Guo is waiting for him to get famous, as when the day comes she'll have to ask him to help her get her idol's autograph. Yizu inquires about her idols, and she tells him that her idols are Suma Cheng and EQ. She tells him that it may be difficult to get EQ's autograph because that guy is way too mysterious. Hearing such things about himself, Yizu feels embarrassed. Everyone in the industry knew that EQ kept a low profile and never showed his face. Of course, he knew. After all, he himself was EQ. He then tells Chen Guo that he wants to tell her a secret, and Yizu tells her that he's actually the real EQ. This crazy woman tells him a secret in return, and she tells him that she's actually Suma Cheng. This is why people have trust issues. Yizu tries to convince her that he is really her idol, and Chen Guo, on the other hand, tries to convince him that she is Suma Cheng. These guys are just stuck in an awkward situation. Chen Guo breaks the ice and tells Yizu to go look at that beginner's guide, and if he needs any clarification, he can ask her. She suggests that he should go directly to the end of the guide and read the summary. It turns out that she was actually right, and now this man, who is known as the Glory's textbook, feels fucking ashamed. He wonders how he will get through this. Once his account is completely set up, Yizu enters the game. Whoa, why there were so many people on the 10th server. Yizu enters the game and arrives at the beginner's village. He hears a rumble behind him, and he finds that people are charging towards the quest items that are ahead. Everything was on a first-come first-served basis. Chen Guo explains that newly opened servers are just like this. Everyone wants to leave the beginner's village as soon as possible. Yizu is already annoyed by the voices in the game that say if one doesn't run, they won't get anything. Lord Grimm is stuck amid all kinds of players trying their luck for the only available non-player character quest. Some players complain about the lags, some are busy pushing each other, and some are here to find beautiful girls. Chen Guo is amazed by the game's popularity, even after 10 whole years. She rushes Yizu to hurry up and do some quests. Yizu comes across the first quest, where a grandmother is freezing and she needs someone to chop firewood for her. Damn, all the firewood is right behind her. Non-player quests were really silly. The next quest was about delivering a love letter to this man's faraway lover. They were only 3 meters apart, and here distance didn't even matter. Yizu gets in a line for some of these insane quests. In this sea of people, it was meaningless to be an expert. Lord Grimm dragged himself along and somehow managed to reach level 7. He had gained 340 skill points, and now he had enough points to learn the basic skills. He approaches Pierce and learns the skill to run swiftly and roll. Next, he learns the skill known as the Dragon's Tooth ability, followed by which Yizu continues to learn a few more skills. Chen Guo couldn't understand why he bothered learning so many skills from different classes. She wondered if he wasn't going to pick a class after level 20. Yes, she was right. This time, Yizu wants to play as an unspecialized player. Chen Guo was almost a terrible player, but she had exceptional knowledge about glory. She thinks that this guy is crazy as he chose to be an unspecialized player, and the maximum level 1 could reach is level 70. And then, Yizu does something even more bizarre. He sells off his only starter weapon. His decision was killing Chen Guo, but Yizu didn't give a fuck. Yizu heads towards Luo Zai, the warehouse manager, who tends to keep the player's treasures safely stored. Yizu at this moment was so confident as if a weapon was just waiting for him. He enters a warehouse and opens up a treasure chest. Yizu goes down his gloomy memory lane again. Next, he opens the chest, and he acquires the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella weapon. Chen Guo notices that it's a self-made weapon with silver letters. Moreover, he now had a self-made weapon. A silver equipment couldn't be dropped, so the only way to get it is to spend a lot of materials in the equipment editor. He knew so much about the game, and Chen Guo wondered who exactly this guy was. Yizu remembers his friend and the time they spent creating the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella. He swore to upgrade this weapon as soon as possible, and now he starts. The Green Forest quest was a 5-player dungeon. Several parties were present outside the dungeon, calling out for the players they required. One party was looking for a main tank, another wanted a healer, and the others were short on some kind of player. Yizu wanted some uncommon materials from this dungeon to upgrade the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella, and he wanted to join a party that would have a chance to encounter the hidden boss. He quickly allowed party invites, and he received a good number of invites. Lord Grimm finally accepted the invite sent by the Sleeping Moon. His first impression was that his team was full of chaos. Lord Grimm asks about how they'll be splitting the drops from the hidden boss. In this dungeon, the hidden boss is the Midnight Phantom Cat, and anything that drops will be worth a fortune. So they agree to decide by dice roll. Once everything is settled, the team enters the dungeon one by one. Sleeping Moon starts bossing over the newbies and asks them to just follow him, and they'll rock and roll. The other 3 players, namely Sparrow Cards, Fallen Sun, and Number 1 Handsome, were glad that someone was ready to carry them all along. Sleeping Moon then asks Lord Grimm why he bothered typing when he could just speak. Here, Chen Guo was sleeping peacefully, so Yizu told his team that someone was asleep and it was inconvenient for him to talk. They agree, as this was a small dungeon anyway, and there wasn't much to communicate over. Sleeping Moon kept bragging about being a veteran player, and warned Lord Grimm to avoid dragging them down. After a while, the system indicates that the Midnight Phantom Cat is ahead. Speaking of the devil, it already appears. The other 3 players start getting anxious, and Sleeping Moon tells them that they don't need to panic. Everything would go smoothly as long as the boss focuses on the main tank and doesn't shift his attention to the off tank. Sleeping Moon elucidates the scenario in short and depicts the main tank as the strongest player who attacks the hidden boss first. Due to the amount of aggression, it will help the boss focus on the target. He needed others to support him while he was in action mode. They only had to be careful if it exceeded the off tank. Yizu heard a continuous rustling sound coming from the forest, and he knew the hidden boss, the Midnight Phantom Cat, was here. Izu knew that the boss was coming and immediately warned his teammates about it. Fallen Sun was injured at that moment, and Lord Grimm helped him heal. Fallen Sun was glad that Lord Grimm saved him, as he thought he was going to die. Sleeping Moon yells at him for being careless and tells him that if he continues to stand around stupidly, he'll really die. He continues to scream at the top of his lungs as he tries to point out that the Midnight Phantom Cat was behind that idiot. There comes the boss, and these noobs get nervous as hell. Sleeping Moon doesn't leave a second to show off his skills. He assures his team members that they shouldn't worry as he is here. They obey him and try to work on being steady. Lord Grimm continues his healing work. Sleeping Moon's performance in this raid was really good, even though the counter was not that sloppy. Sleeping Moon appreciates Lord Grimm's skills, and he gives him the responsibility to heal up the members. Well, now the battle god was just treated like a support. Soon the Midnight Phantom Cat's bar went red, and it was now going to go berserk. The situation gets intense, and the boss screeches loudly. In the berserk state, the Midnight Phantom Cat's speed and damage increase, but it's limited as it's only a junior boss. The team continues to dodge the boss, but now the demon's movements have become so fast that Sleeping Moon is worried if he can even hit it anymore. Lord Grimm notices that after the boss went berserk, the team started making silly mistakes. Even Sleeping Moon was not panicking and losing his balance. The other 3 players debated whether they should fight or wait for the leader. The Midnight Phantom Cat now started attacking the other members, and they kept crying for help, but Sleeping Moon didn't respond to them. One by one, all 3 died, and now only Lord Grimm was there to assist Sleeping Moon. He tells Lord Grimm to hold on, and if they work together, they should be able to take down the boss. Lord Grimm didn't answer back, and he only smirked like those with evil intentions. He laughs at the thought about Sleeping Moon telling him to hold on. He was totally fine, dude. Sleeping Moon was the one who needed to hold on. Sleeping Moon couldn't bear the fact that Lord Grimm was laughing at him in this situation. Moreover, this guy was bleeding, and he required help. Lord Grimm refuses to add life and decides to go off tank as well. Izu is getting bored now, and he yawns. Now it was time for Lord Grimm to play dumb, and he acted like an idiot when Sleeping Moon asked him to add life to him. Sleeping Moon, on the other hand, was constantly bleeding, which would affect his health points. Lord Grimm then taunted him about his movements, which suddenly got better again. Sleeping Moon and his vicious plan were busted. Lord Grimm claims that it was a pity that he couldn't handle the boss on his own at his level. He sums up by saying that as long as the drop system is changed to a captain's allocation, even if the team members were disappointed and left the team, the boss reward would be in Sleeping Moon's pocket. Here, Sleeping Moon controlled the hatred, and when the boss was red-blooded, he started pretending to make a combo mistake and created an off-tank. He then cleared out the team members and wanted to deal with the Midnight Phantom Cat alone so he could get to keep all the rewards to himself. Sleeping Moon was startled, and he wondered if Lord Grimm had seen him through from the very beginning. He noted that this guy was really not a good person, as if Sleeping Moon were the kindest of all. Sleeping Moon quietly agrees to the allegations and confirms that he deliberately made the scene more chaotic and let those 3 newbies die in order to drain the water. This evil guy, Sleeping Moon, had set up a plan for Lord Grimm too. He assumed that at one point the healer would lose judgment and desperately use his recovery skills, and the hatred value would also skyrocket with that. That's when he would become the boss's next target. But Sleeping Moon made a miscalculation as Lord Grimm's hatred value was always far below others. Unexpectedly, Lord Grimm didn't take any action throughout that kind of chaos. The very next moment, Sleeping Moon is attacked by the Midnight Phantom Cat, and damn, he was sure that he would die if he was not healed. After being in such a situation, he tries to compromise with Lord Grimm. Sleeping Moon claims that if they work together, there is a 50% chance of getting everything. Who wanted 50% when Lord Grimm preferred a 100%. Sleeping Moon was stuck in this agreement alone, where he even offered Lord Grimm to pick whatever he wants and leave the rest for him. This guy clearly knew that he was at a disadvantage. Sleeping Moon was in a delusion that if he died, Lord Grimm wouldn't be able to survive, and no one would get anything. Lord Grimm clarifies that Sleeping Moon didn't have to worry about what he wanted and that Sleeping Moon should just die in peace. Sleeping Moon is attacked by the boss, and that's the end of this player, but he is determined to take revenge. Now it was time for some real action. The Midnight Phantom Cat growls at Lord Grimm, and he unsheathes the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella and uses the Dragon Tooth skills to finish off the boss. Chen Guo suddenly woke up, but she still looked tired. Oh, she had accidentally fallen asleep. Chen Guo wanted to pull up all night, but older people can't keep up with the night. She finds the jacket that Izu covered her with, and she notes that her newly hired employee is quite an attentive person. but his jacket was stinky and Chen Guo wondered for how long it had not been washed. Chen Guo was used to the sounds of the keyboard, but when she observed the sounds coming from Izu's keyboard, she found it soothing. Moreover, his hands were pretty good looking too, she thought. Izu had very fine and long fingers. The fingertips were very fine, and the nails were clean. None of these traits match his sloppy appearance. Then, Chen Guo gets a bit closer to take a look at his computer screen to see if he has been out of the beginner's village. Boom. At that very moment, Izu got his first kill. This woman screamed really loudly, as though she had never seen a first kill. Holy crap, she exclaimed. This was the time she gave some credits and noticed that Izu actually got some skills as he got the first kill of the hidden boss. Her mouth fell open when she learned that he did this all alone. Izu doesn't intend on blowing up his cover and tells her that his teammates died and the boss's life was low, so it was an easy pick for him. Chen Guo, being one unlucky creature on Earth, found it hard to believe that there could be such a good thing. The boss seems to be very happy today, and she declares that because the first hideout in the 10th district was bagged here, drinks in Area C were on her. Chen Guo then happily gets a drink for Izu too. She tells him that the first kill record will stay on the list forever. Although the Midnight Phantom Cat is only a junior boss, it was a different story for the new server with new players. In Glory, generally, the first kill of the new server was usually seized by the large guilds and professional circles. Izu has given this internet cafe and ordinary players a long face, although it was by luck. Chen Guo was proud of him even though he had struck the first kill by luck, and she told him to be happy. It was now time to see what he had gotten. Izu got some useless items and a few good ones, and then came the skill book. Good luck struck again. Chen Guo couldn't believe that the lowest level boss actually dropped a skill book. She knew it very well that the total number of skill points that a character in Glory can get until full level is 4,000 points and that it could be improved afterwards. Chen Guo concluded that this guy has super luck. Next, Izu uses most of the rare drops in one go, and Chen Guo is annoyed because they were actually some rare drops. She wanted him to think before using it. After all, one couldn't attain them every day. Abruptly, the chat box pops up, and Sleeping Moon is busy scolding Lord Grimm. Chen Guo asks about it, and Izu tells her that it's a long story. Of course, they had a lot of time. Once Chen Guo comprehends the whole story, she bursts into rage. On the contrary, Izu, the actual victim, seems to be quite calm. Chen Guo asks him if he is not angry. He tells her that he is very angry. He didn't look like he was angry. Who on earth smiles when they are angry? But according to Izu, anger doesn't necessarily have to be on the face. It was hard for Chen Guo to digest the fact that this person was still smiling. And even after facing a full screen of slander, his damn face has not changed a bit. In the game, the other players are busy gossiping about Lord Grimm. This Sleeping Moon and his methods were indeed quite poisonous. No one was ready to team up with Lord Grimm. At a corner, Sleeping Moon along with his gang members, which included Shallow Holy Words, Mu Yunshin, and Tian Kai, were all bad-mouthing about Lord Grimm. Now Izu had no other option, so he went straight to Sleeping Moon and greeted him. Sleeping Moon was in deep shock as this guy actually dared to come to him again. Lord Grimm then asks him if they are short of people. He could add him to the team. This guy is getting on Sleeping Moon's nerves now. When Lord Grimm approaches Sleeping Moon, he slanders him, asking whether he has come here to beg for forgiveness and telling him that he is a trashy person. They think that Lord Grimm has finally understood the might of the Full Moon Guild now. Sleeping Moon was waiting for him to answer, and then, perhaps, he could accept or reject him. Lord Grimm is here to satisfy his alter ego, and tells Sleeping Moon that he does understand the importance of this team. He almost taunts him, saying that Sleeping Moon is so amazing that he couldn't even find another party to join anymore. Lord Grimm again proposes to team up. Sleeping Moon wonders if he's actually dumb. Lord Grimm tries to convince him, saying that since they all properly understand each other now, they should join forces like good men. Damn, even at this moment, Lord Grimm was making fun of Sleeping Moon. He couldn't understand what was wrong with Lord Grimm's nonchalant attitude or if he really wanted to join the team. In the party chat, Shallow Holy Words tells Sleeping Moon to hurry up and let Lord Grimm join, as it would look bad if they started arguing. They plan to bring him along and kill Lord Grimm when no one's watching. After all, they were all in the same guild, and when they enter the dungeon, they can do whatever they want to him. Sleeping Moon finally accepts his request, and Lord Grimm joins the party. Chen Guo seemed to be thrilled by all of these hypocritical decisions. Izu tells her that he has no other option as no one else wants to play with him. She suggests that he should play solo, and with his skills and weapon, he could level up faster. Okay, hang on. Now that Chen Guo thinks about it, she notices that he has a custom silver weapon that's several times stronger than a normal one. So Yizu doesn't need a party for the Green Forest at all, unless this guy is doing this solely for the hidden boss. Chen Guo soon realizes that the skill book that he obtained by luck was all bullcrap. That definitely wasn't luck, and she wonders what kind of a person she hired. Chen Guo tells Yizu that she's going to sleep and promises to treat him to something good if he gets another first kill. She exclaims that his dumb luck makes her feel very hopeful for some reason, and he smiles. After waving out and telling his boss good night, it was now time to enter the Green Forests. Sleeping Moon signals 7 fields to begin their secret mission. The team purposely creates such situations because of which Lord Grimm gets surrounded by a bunch of mobs, and they think that now he's doomed. Sleeping Moon tries to show some fake concern towards Lord Grimm, but of course he wouldn't actually care for him or help him out. Lord Grimm assures him that he'll be fine and that these mobs are just a piece of cake. Lord Grimm quickly strikes down those monsters. The team members received a good amount of shock, and they wondered how capable he was. It was obvious that they hadn't seen anything like this before, but little did they know that this was just a small show. Phew, Lord Grimm was tired, and he found others staring at him. 7 Fields tells Lord Grimm that it's getting boring in here, and he suggests that they go to the Spider Cave. Sleeping Moon approved it instantly because he knew that they wouldn't be able to kill Lord Grimm in the Green Forest. But the Spider Cave was completely different. Every guide discourages low-level players from running that dungeon, and even teams with high-level players fail at times. Sleeping Moon was sure that Lord Grimm's skills wouldn't matter there, and he'll die for sure. Team Full Moon Guild enters the Spider Cave, and 7 Fields already starts to regret his decision. Mu Yunshin wondered if this was too much of a gamble, as he felt like he was putting himself at risk too. Obliviously, they might have forgotten the terrible boss monster and its attacks, as per the rumors. Shallow Holy Words asks 7 Fields if they will be able to survive if Lord Grimm dies. It wouldn't be easy if they were one person short. Actually, they were already stupid enough to come here at level 10. The team was aware that Lord Grimm was a good player, so they planned to use him for a while to level up and deal with him after they reached the boss. This was their final plan. Then they began to behave normally, or else Lord Grimm would suspect that something fishy was going on. To change the topic, 7 Fields asked his fellow members if they had brought antidotes. Lord Grimm claims that he doesn't need it. Sleeping Moon spotted a monster, and it was the green spider with poison claws. He knew that Lord Grimm didn't have antidotes, and he blessed him to have some fun getting poisoned to death. Just then, Lord Grimm attacked the green spider, knocking it upwards and suspending it in midair. And now he hits the spider constantly, gaining an airborne 4x combo. Team Full Moon Guild needed some light as they thought they were hallucinating. They began to speculate about his actions and concluded that his actions per minute are at least 200. Moreover, the combo was still going on, and the poor spider didn't have a chance to retaliate at all. The spider is at last destroyed by a 17-hit combo. Damn, the others kept wondering who the hell this guy was and why on earth this damned Sleeping Moon provoked him. 3 of them surround Lord Grimm and praise him for his skills. They were too quick to change parties. The following moment, the place is filled with hissing sounds, and this time there were a lot of them. And it wasn't just the green spiders, there were ranged enemies too. Lord Grimm leaps forward to give it a try, and the slaughtering begins. This guy literally managed to get 7 in a row while dodging the webs in midair. Everything was aggroed on him right now, but most importantly, Lord Grimm wasn't poisoned because nothing had managed to hit him even once. That was extremely cool. They wondered if a level 10 player could really juggle with 7 monsters at once. Whatever he did goes beyond just good techniques. This is glory. Lord Grimm knew the meaning of the game and knew what he was doing. Looking at him fight, the other members were getting hyped up. After testing him for so long, they ultimately decide to get in and shoulder some of the pressure for him. They realized that they didn't come here to watch him, but they came here as teammates. This was the power of glory. It brought together the people who loved it. Sleeping Moon at this moment felt betrayed, as this was the perfect opportunity just now for Lord Grimm to get what he deserved. The hype was real, and this team cleared all of those green spiders. They can't deny the fact that they actually enjoyed it, and it had been so long since they had experienced such a rush. They were proud of their overpowered carry, and now it was time to push on to the boss. It's here, the Spider King was here. The boss monster looked terrifying, and they recognized that it's miasma. They quickly gulped down their antidotes. 7 Fields offers an antidote to Lord Grimm, but he refuses to take it. He asks him how he is going to survive the area of effect. Lord Grimm instead asks 7 Fields to look at his status bar, and he notes that the antidote isn't working. Lord Grimm explains that it's because the antidote's level isn't high enough. He also tells them clearly that he has never ever used a low-level antidote before, so the team had no chance to win now, and they were all disappointed. But Lord Grimm had interrupted the miasma. He then guides each one of them to their positions. He asks 7 fields to stand at 1 o'clock and the other 2 to stand at 7 and 9. They do as said, and then Lord Grimm asks Moony Moon to go and stand at 4 o'clock. No laughter allowed, please. Sleeping Moon felt extremely furious upon hearing his new name, Moony Moon. Even the others taunt him by the same name and suggest that he should listen to Lord Grimm and start moving. This little Moony Moon was not burning with rage, and he scolded everyone who teased him. Moony Moon was determined to revolt against Lord Grimm, but he ended up rushing to stand at 4 o'clock. He only came here because he thought it was a favorable position too. Now they had to stand in their positions and not move an inch while they waited patiently for their turn to attack. Sleeping Moon notices that the Spider King is coming towards him, and he is sure that Lord Grimm is now taking revenge. According to Sleeping Moon, Lord Grimm had the perfect plan, which started when he joined the party, and then he displayed his skills and weird tricks. Now that these other idiots have started worshipping him, he would kill Sleeping Moon in front of everyone. He even went to the extent of imagining an evil little Lord Grimm telling him that he should just stand at 4 o'clock like a good boy and get ready to die. Sleeping Moon agreed that he was stupid enough to fall into his trap, and now he was going to be a laughing stock. He claims that Lord Grimm is nothing but a murderer. Whoa, this guy really knows how to blame people. Sleeping Moon and his imagination were proved wrong the very next moment when Lord Grimm attacked the Spider King right before it could attack Sleeping Moon. Lord Grimm asks his members to get their abilities ready as they are about to begin. He then instructs 7 fields to use a front kick at 1 o'clock, and he obeys. Next, he tells 9 o'clock to use piercing thrusts, and he rogers that. For 7 o'clock, he commands to use stagger to follow up, and lastly for 4 o'clock, Moony Moon, who actually knows his commands beforehand and uses piercing thrusts. Moony Moon complains, saying that it was like a pinball, and they just keep bouncing it back and forth and calling it a dirty strategy. After a while, the Spider King falls to the ground with a thud, and the system notifies him that it was the first kill. The team is thrilled to know that they got the first kill, which they couldn't even dream of. They actually got the first kill in the Spider Cave. Meanwhile, in another instance of the Spider Cave dungeon, there's this guild that's disappointed as fuck because they only needed 10 seconds more to get this first kill. They make a note of what the system says about Lord Grimm. One of the members knew that he was the same person who had taken the first kill of the Shadow Cat. Lord Grimm was now on par with a player named Blue River. Blue River is the guild leader of the Blue Brook Guild. He commands his team members to contact everyone in the villages and tell them to look into the details of Lord Grimm. The scene at the Blue Brook Guild is getting worse, and the members are sighing heavily. The more they thought about it, the more angry they got. This guild had promised to get all the records onto this new server, but they failed on the very first day. One of the members told them to stop hammering and look at Blue River. Of course, he was quite pissed off. They were supposed to be one of the 5 top guilds, and they have the best track record when it comes to dungeons too. But Lord Grimm had taken 2 first kills. Blue River tells them that he could hear whatever they were saying, and he clarifies that he's not mad, he's just confused. According to their reports, Sleeping Moon was the one who guided the team to the Green Forest, and later he said that Lord Grimm tried to kill his teammates just to steal the hidden boss. After a while, they teamed up again and took the first kill at the Spider Cave. This sounded incredibly messy, and it didn't make any sense at all. Most importantly, there's a speculation that Lord Grimm is some pro player that a guild hired, but the people in his team didn't seem to be skilled at all, and they even talk trash about him. In short, if the reports were correct, Lord Grimm took 2 first kills with completely random teams. This would take them a good amount of time to think through. By that time, the system indicated that there was another first kill by Lord Grimm and his team, and their target was the Spider Emperor. This time, Lord Grimm was the leader. Blue River sighs and pulls his headphones down. It seems that he is eagerly waiting to learn more about Lord Grimm. This player's real name is Zhu Boyuan. Here, Lord Grimm and his team were busy fighting against the Spider Emperor, and at last they succeeded. For them, it was another first kill. Mu Yunshin initially couldn't even believe that Lord Grimm could beat this hidden boss. Shallow Holy Words was still having a hard time believing it. Lord Grimm was the heart and soul of the game. He was the healer, the crowd controller, the tank, and he even directed the whole fight. They were pretty sure even professional players could not play like this. Just then, 7 Fields informs Lord Grimm that the monster has dropped 4 pieces of the resilient silk that he wanted, and there was some other stuff too. He invited his leader to take whatever he needed. Lord Grimm politely takes what he needs and gives the rest to his teammates. But these guys were reluctant to enjoy the benefits, and they even discussed about staying off the loot. Sleeping Moon couldn't believe that they were the same people, and he wondered since when these guys became so generous. They noticed that the monsters even dropped a purple weapon. This sword is nuts, as even if one is not a swordsman, equipping this sword would be worth it. Later on, one could even switch to a different class. The team decides to give the sword to Lord Grimm, as if it weren't for his leadership, they wouldn't have gotten these drops at all. Lord Grimm tells them in return that if it weren't for their teamwork, it would have been a tad difficult for him to solo the boss. They thought he would say that it would be impossible without them, so it didn't really matter if they were here or not. Sleeping Moon gets furious and challenges Lord Grimm, saying that he'll surely catch up to him one day. And Lord Grimm sarcastically wishes him good luck. Oh my god, that was so cool. Sleeping Moon yells at them to keep quiet and warns them to stop making fun of him. He did it exactly as rivals are supposed to do. The other members just stop arguing with Moony Moon, and they gather around Lord Grimm and discuss about adding him as a friend. So that is it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. So if you like the video, then hit that like button and leave a comment for the next part. Most important, subscribe and press the bell icon for notification. I will meet you in the new video. Till then, bye.